Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can buy 5 properties in 5 years and become financially independent. Now that might seem like a bit of an astronomical goal, but we're going to break it down step by step today. And we're going to take a look at exactly how you can reach this target so you can do the things you love and spend the time with people you love sooner. Now, my wife and I have been very lucky to do something similar to this in the last 5 years of our property investing journey. So I want to teach you the ins and outs today. We're going to look at how you can build your deposits, how you can progress from 1 to 2 and eventually gain 5 properties to build out your portfolio and build out your asset base. So to kick off, step number 1 is to save your deposit for your very first property. At a minimum, you're going to need $60,000 and ideally you're going to have $100,000. So anywhere between $60,000 to $100,000 would be enough money to get you into the property market and to get you to buy that first property. Now it's time to take a look at your borrowing capacity and have a chat with a couple of banks and brokers. Now at this point in time, I'm going to be making the assumption that you'll be able to service a property between $400,000 to $600,000 for a purchase price. Also, take into account that the rental income from that property is going to be counted towards your serviceability. So whatever you're saving on the side, plus the rental income, will be able to support the cash flow of that investment property. We're also going to be looking for a positively cash flow property, and that essentially means that the property will pay for itself, including interest, rates, tax, water bills, and things like that. So you shouldn't really have to focus on whether you're going to have to pay for the property and be worried about covering the expenses associated with that investment. Now we've covered the fundamentals, you've got your deposit, you've got your pre-approval and your lending capacity. It's time to work out where you want to buy. Now for me, I'd be looking at the major capital cities or the major regional markets. I want to be buying in the top 30 locations across Australia. Ideally locations that have at least 100,000 people and have multiple industries. The reason is you don't want it to be a one-horse town or a one-trick pony, like a mining town, for example, where the demand could ebb and flow based on the demand for that resource. We've got iron ore, for an example. A town could be heavily reliant on iron ore, and therefore if that industry or if that commodity was to plummet in price or in value, or there was no longer able to mine that mineral or material, then that town could see a massive decrease in demand, and therefore values of properties could drop and rents could drop as well. Now we've seen this in locations in WA and in Queensland as well. And it's been pretty sad, over the last 10 years, about 10 years ago, the boom ended in WA. So places like Port Hedland and South Hedland went from values of $1 million down to $500,000 for the average home. So you want to be focusing on those major regional locations or those major capital cities. For me, I see great value in Brisbane and Adelaide at the moment. They're a major capital city. They have large populations. Brisbane, for example, has around 2.2 million people at the moment, looking to grow up towards 3 million people by 2030. And these major markets are going to have a lot of diverse industries. They're going to have a growing population and continue to see demand into their housing market moving forward. The last part here is you're obviously constrained by price points. You can only look at markets up to, say, that $600,000 maximum. So you're going to buy property number 1 in a major location, probably in Australia's top 30 city or regional locations, between a $400,000 to $600,000 price point. Now you're probably going to be wanting to buy a home on at least 500 to 600 square meters. 600 is probably the average size suburban block, but 500 square meters plus would be reasonable because you want to have a strong land component. The land in property is what appreciates. Buildings depreciate in value and land appreciates over time. That's because land is that scarce commodity in this case, and you can update and build and refurbish homes over time. Now you need to secure that first investment. Let's use the number of $500,000 for your very first investment, and it's probably going to rent for, say, $450 a week or up to $500 a week. If you could buy a $500,000 home with a $500 per week return, you'd be getting about 5.2% gross yield, which should be cash flow positive depending on your leverage and your situation. So in building out your 5 properties in 5 years, you need to buy your first property in year 1. And we're going to have the goal of buying 1 property every year up until year 5. Now there's 3 ways to get out of property number 1 and to buy property number 2. Way number 1 is to actually buy below market value. If you're able to buy a property that's probably worth $500,000, but you're able to secure it for $450,000, whether you bought it direct from an agent or you bought directly from an owner, or you'll be able to secure discount on the deal through the building and pest inspection. Then you can get the property revalued by a different bank or the same bank potentially and have it revalued at $500,000. This will allow you to pull out equity and go and use that money for the deposit on property number 2. Option number 2 here is to actually manufacture value on that first property. So you're going to do a cosmetic renovation, do the kitchen, do the bathroom, do the flooring, and give the property a facelift. This added value to the property is going to create disparity between what you paid for it, the amount of money you spent, and the end value of that property, often called the after repair value. So you would have hopefully spent, say, $10,000 or $15,000 on the renovation and at least doubled your money. So you want to, spend that $10,000 or $15,000, and maybe the value goes from $500,000 up to $550,000. The third option here is to actually buy in an emerging market. So you're looking for locations that are having a strong run of growth over the short to mid-term and looking to ride that wave of growth over that period of time. Now, the big kicker here is if you can do all 3 in one go, which of course would be a Goldilocks or a unicorn outcome, that would be where you can get buy under market value, manufacture value on the deal, and buy in an emerging market. Essentially, what you need to happen is you need to create disparity between what you paid for the property and see an increase in value, and then go back to the bank and refinance your debt position, pull out cash from paying out your old debt with your new debt, and use the additional cash to go and buy your next investment property. Now you've gone and done this with property number 1, it's time to rinse and repeat the process. The more active you are as an investor, whether you're looking to find deals, spend time understanding and building your knowledge base, and actually going out there and manufacturing value on those properties, the quicker you'll be able to grow your portfolio. I often get asked a lot of the time, how did you, Luke and Emily, manage to build your portfolio quickly? We definitely saw the market do a lot of the heavy lifting, but we also manufactured value on every deal we could buy, and we try to buy those properties under market value and get a good price as we negotiated on those deals. Now you're going to rinse and repeat the strategy, so try and buy a $500,000 property once a year for 5 years. You'll obviously need to keep your PAYG or your day job income to service the debt on these properties, but ideally you're going to be earning your day job income. Say you're earning $70,000 a year and your partner might be earning, say, $70,000, and the properties will be paying for themselves. So you want to make sure they have at least a 4 to 5% yield on the low side, and if you can get 6% yields, that'd be great to help boost the cash flow. Now I know that sounds all well and good, but it's always not going to be that easy. It's going to be a bit of a tough journey to understand the finances, to build out your portfolio's position and grow the portfolio from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 over that 5-year period of time. There will be some sacrifices involved in saving your deposits and to continue to work with the banks over that period of time. But once you've reached year number 5, it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy financial independence. What do I really mean by financial independence? What I essentially mean is, once you've hit that point where you've built the portfolio to that $2.5 million mark, so you've bought 5 properties for $500,000 and you've rinsed and repeated in terms of adding value to the property or seeing a wave of growth in terms of the market values of those properties, you've really set your foundational portfolio that will set you up for retirement in 30 years. If those properties are paying for themselves, so the tenants are paying, say, $450 to $500 a week for those $500,000 properties, then they're going to be paying down the debt for you too. Now, you might not be able to quit your day job here, but the real key and the real takeaway I want you to have from this video is financial independence doesn't mean sitting on a beach drinking pina coladas. For me, it means doing what you love, spending time with the people that you love, and enjoying what you have and being creative with the time that you have going forward. So if you have a passion for gardening, maybe you would start your own gardening business. Or if you enjoy painting art or making music, maybe you pursue that venture and earn a drastically reduced income off the back of that. Instead of earning, say, $70,000 or $80,000, maybe you go and work at McDonald's part-time and earn $40,000 or $50,000 and enjoy the rest of your hours that you have in the week. What we tend to find is that people who have this financial freedom and reach that goal of building out the portfolio and end up earning more income after they've done that and after they've reached that financial independence phase. It's because they grow their creativity, they take more risks, they start their own business, and they expand their horizons. So that's the goal I want to have, and I hope you have too, is that you build your portfolio up into that point. $2.5 million would be enough for the average Aussie, as that's likely to provide around $100,000 passive income in retirement. Let those properties pay themselves off over the next 25 years. You've done your accumulation phase in the first 5 years. Let the debt be paid down slowly over the next 25 and go work a job and do things that you love. Now, I know that might sound fairly simple. Save a deposit, chat to some banks, buy a property, add value or see appreciation in value, refinance, repeat, and do that until you reach your target goal. Of course, it's not that easy in practice, but we also don't need to overcomplicate things as well. You can read 100 books, you can watch 1,000 YouTube videos and not truly understand the intricacies of building an investment portfolio unless you go out there and do it yourself. You need to take action. So if you've bought 1 or 2 properties and you're looking to grow, keep going. If you've just started or you haven't even got your deposit saved yet, keep educating yourself and building your knowledge base, and it will de-risk the process for you at the same time. If you've got any questions about how to build out a portfolio, what barriers you might run into, or any questions at all, leave a comment down below or click this video over here for more things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.